that says how our case studies work and what they teach, how to use it. And so the 5 viewpoints are value chain, brand, community, controlled operations, leadership and culture, and the business model. And it says when we do this, we use the resource-based strategy and we use transaction cost economics. And the process we'll go through that we learned in class was we go through we engage in issue identification, prioritizing, innovating, and decision making. So we're going to identify what the issues are. We're going to prioritize them strategically. We're going to do some kind of analysis. We're going to innovate by generating possible solutions. We're going to be ethical and filter solutions against organizational values and culture. We'll choose the remaining solution most likely to yield a sustained competitive advantage. And then we'll do some kind of action plan and staging, and then we'll decide whether or not to act. And this document here will answer all the questions that you might have forgotten about what we learned in class. What do you do when the case study comes up? And how to score, what is a VRIO, and what they mean, and how they lead to potential for competitive advantage. And we get to the point of a little further down, you can see we sample on how it works and what you do with every single step along the way. And down below, you'll see how to score each thing. So if something's valuable, how to do value scoring. If something's rare, rarity scoring, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's this help document here for you, and that's posted for you. Let's close that down. So also, you'll see that there are instructions for the case and how to do this. It says instructions. Read the case study completely. Find the phrase number that you've been assigned. Where is that? Well, let's see. Here's a case over on this side. Here's the Backwoods Brewing Company. So let's say you were assigned 4. And it says, let's say 3. Plus, he continued, you know what happens when loyal craft beer customers find out a brewery has gone corporate. They figure it's not really craft beer and it does not stand for the craft ethic anymore, and they jump ship. Well, that means you've been assigned 3. And if you're in the other class and you're doing a kitchen box, maybe you were assigned phrase 1, or maybe another phrase down lower. You could have been assigned phrase 6. Well, you would go to phrase, let's go back to backwards. And you say, okay, I was assigned phrase 3. On our spreadsheet, you say, okay, enter the phrase number from the case study. And you put 0_3. Or you could copy and paste it. But it says copy and paste the phrase, the exact sentence from the thing. Oh, I can do that. Let's go back over here and copy and paste the phrase. Let's see, copy, edit, copy, and then I go over here, edit, paste. Oh, taking its time. There it goes. Okay, I pasted it, and I think I'll do wrap text, so it's right in there. There you go. So now I've done the first 2 instructions. That said, now we got to start thinking. Indicate which of the 5 areas of strategy you think this phrase is most directly attached to. Those 5 areas, remember, that's like value chain or brand community or operations or leadership and culture. Well, let's see, craft beer customers. Well, I say definitely it's about brand community, BC. What else? Kind of about the ethic and what we stand for, maybe leadership and culture. There's 2. And maybe this is also about value chain. Like we're trying to get money out of this thing. We're trying to make money on the firm, and how are we going to get the value of the firm up and get cash in? Well, maybe that's a stretch, the VC, but at least there's these 2 areas. So we've got 2 areas that we can focus on: brand community and leadership and culture. So now the next thing says, which of these areas of strategy is this analysis going to be about? So pick one. So pick one. Enter VC, BC. Let's see. Let's pick. We'll do our analysis on brand community here. BC. In as direct and concise words as possible, what is the issue from the perspective from this area of strategy? Well, from the perspective of brand community, I guess you could say this. We have a small but growing and loyal brand community that is against big city corporate values and corporate values and we don't want to alienate them if we sell shares to raise money. Something like that. Something like that. That sounds like an issue. Okay, so there's the issue, and let's word wrap text there. Maybe I'll take this whole column and I'll say, I'd like to wrap the text on the whole column, please. Boink. Now it'll do that automatically for you. In simple words, what simple words can be used to describe the main resources involved? Well, I don't know. We've got cash. That's a resource that we're talking about, and we're talking about our brand, and we're talking about our brand community members. Good. Okay. So you get the idea. Oops. Now let's go down here. Now it's going to say, okay, let's do one. So think about resource or capability one. Let's pick one to do. We can do cash, brand, or brand community members. And you only have to do one. All three would be good to analyze, but for this, your assignment is only to do one. So find the first resource associated with this phrase and this area of strategy in the list of resources on the VRIO score sheet and put the number next to it. Okay, we don't have to do cash if we don't want to. We could. Let's do brand community members. Okay, go to the VRIO score sheet. It says, okay, VRIO score sheet. Where do I find brand community members? Let's see. Is it they a financial resource? Human. No, they're not a human resource. That's people that work there. Technological, no. Spatial resources, temporal resources, power, knowledge. No, I don't see them here. Wait a minute. Network resources. Our brand evangelists or ambassadors are brand enthusiasts. That's our brand community, our brand enthusiasts. Not under emotional stuff. That would be our brand itself. Down here we have the value associated with feelings about the brand and brand legitimacy and authenticity or reputation. But we're talking about the actual community people. So that would be these folks. And let's see. So we go through, and then I know it's gonna ask me to score. Let's take a look. Directions. What's next? These directions are just the same. It says find it, go to the VRIO score sheet. Okay, from the list of resources, what is it called? What is its number? And then go score it. So first of all, we need the number. It's 8_2 brand enthusiasts. Let's go back. I'm going to put 8_2. That's the number, right? It says put the first resource. What is the number? Okay. What is it called? It's called brand enthusiasts. Yeah. And I could have copied and pasted that. That would have been easier. Now go to the VRIO score sheet and rate this resource on the scales provided, just like it says in the directions. Go to the VRIO score sheet and rate rate it. Okay, you'd go here, then you rate it. I gave it, let's see, in terms of do they have a brand community? Yeah, they have, kind of. They have just enough. Okay, maybe a little short even. I'll put 3, just enough. Valuable. That's quite a valuable resource. It's kind of rare to have a really good brand community, but it is imitable. It's about a 3. So our P-score comes to 3.7. And are we really organized? Let's see. Are transaction costs minimized? Are other organizational values actualizing or optimizing the potential? Or are they limiting it? Let's see. Are we well organized around brand community and set up for them? Not really. From what we know, now you got to think about backwards and what you learned during the term. And they're trying to build it, but they don't really do a great job with it. They're not that great with their social networking. They're, kind of. So I'll give it a 2. Well, what comes up? That gives the whole VRI score of a 3.2, but potential was 3.7. And over here we get the coding. We got a code number 2, and that means failure. They got to organize better, which makes sense. This should be higher than a 2 because this is a potential source of advantage. That score is high, but they're not well organized around it. So we got good generic advice here anyway. All right, let's go back. What does it tell us to do next? It says, okay, nothing there. It says, using the VRIO score sheet, enter your have it score for the first capability. Okay, and what was our have it score? Let's see. The have it score was VRIO score sheet was 3. Then we did 4, 4, 3, 2. I'll just remember that. Let's see. 3 for have it. The VRIO mean score from the spreadsheet. Let's see, VRIO mean score. The VRIO mean score, 3.2. Go here, we put 3.2. It's 3.2. The score, the value score you gave this thing, I remember that was I think it was a 4. We said 4. Oh, and the have it. Do we have this? Oh yeah, the V score. The V score was 4, 4, 3, and then 2 for organization. 4. The rarity score 4. Enter the imitability score 3, and then organization score 2, and then enter the potential score, that was 3.7, and then enter the generic strategy code, that was 2, and then come up with so then we have to, it says, come up with at least 3 alternative solutions to deal with this issue. You say, well, I don't know, let's see, get better at Twitter and let's see, I don't know, other social networking apps to keep the brand community engaged, even if a corporate sponsor is bought online. I don't know if that's such a great idea, because then you're kind of lying to them. You're like telling them that you're still the same, but you really got corporate. So that might not fit our values, but it's a potential thing to do. So you can give an idea right there. And then you got to give 3 ideas there. And then below that, you might say, what do you think are some values that might be related to this? And that's where you talk about whether or not that would be, you're being straightforward with your brand community and so forth. Then it says enter the generic strategy, and this was from the score sheet, the generic strategy. It revised us to org failure, organize better. So I would usually copy and paste that. In fact, let's copy and paste it. I'll show you what I mean. Org failure, organize better. Control C. And I'll do paste special. I just want to paste whatever. Formulas and numbering, keep source format. I just don't want to have a yellow. I didn't want that. That's not what I wanted. Edit. Gee, I don't know how to paste it without the text. Let me just put org failure. Org failure, organize better. There. And so on and so forth. Then it says re-enter the name of the resource there. We put brand community again. That was the potential score. Given the issue, the values, and generic advice, what do you think that they should do? And then how should they do it? How do you stage this thing? What other resources are needed? What else would they have to do? And then do you have any further comments? Once you're done with that, you're almost done. Now you have to do one more thing. Up at the top here, we said that, well, you can look at this from a brand community perspective. You could also look at it from another perspective, and you say, well, we could also look at this from a leadership and culture perspective. So you need to do it again. You go to analysis worksheet number 2, fill it out.